Welcome to CarePOD, a safe place to educate, inspire, and renew the caregiver. Listen in with our host, Dr. Kipley Bell, as she interviews different experts along the caregiving journey.
So we have had an impactful month talking about caring while Black, and I'm really excited to close out the month with Bydeia Harmon, who is the Chief Development Officer for the New Jersey chapter of the African American Chamber of Commerce. And just really excited, particularly to have his perspective as a Black male leader. We've spoken to a lot of women. Women lead all day long, right? But at the end of the day, looking to the male head and what that looks like in several spaces, and how we bring that forth and how we have that conversation. So thank you so much for joining me at the CarePOD, Bydeia. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I begin all of my CarePOD episodes with your why. Kind of got you into this leadership role, has destined you for leadership, guided you into that self-control, discipline, ambition, all the things that are necessary in that pot to arrive where you are today.
Well, thank you. You just kind of gave me a segue into it. You talked about women leading all day. And though I was one of those African American youths who had both parents, my mother really instilled in me at a young age, as an educator of 32 years in the Philadelphia school district, that you had to strive for more, that you had to lead for example. She wasn't afraid to do that, which kind of segues into my why. My why is definitely family. Raising a 17 and 8-year-old African American males who, they see me as an everyday example. They see me as an example, as their beacon as to what they might aspire to be, but also what they should be. And that comes from a lot of core values, a lot of conversation, a lot of family togetherness that I had in my household as a youth, which always said that what we hold near and dear, that should always be at the forefront. And for me, any perspective that's gained from my presence or from any dialogue that I have with anyone in any walk of life, what I want them to take away from myself in that dialogue or interaction is that I can respect him, not only as a human, but as a man, and then the perspective that he brought to whatever interaction that was. So my why is definitely my family. I look to myself to be a representation of not only of what males should be that are younger than me within my family, but also what those who I interact with should strive to be. And not that I'm imperfect by any means, but I like to see myself in a light where I'm doing what's positive. I'm doing what's needed. I'm doing for those who lean on me, not only for a perspective, but for survivalship. They look for me for leadership, not only from a parent's perspective, but in the community. As you know, Kipley, I'm well rooted into youth basketball as a high school basketball coach for over a decade, AAU for even longer. The youth is definitely our tomorrow. My youth within my own home is definitely my why. And I just strive to give them the best example that I can display for them each and every day.
So how do you model respect in this current culture?
It's a good question. And in our current culture, right, we're met with challenges each and every day, right? And it comes from many different platforms, whether it's a social aspect, can be an educational aspect, it can be political, just following the recent inauguration, right? It may be financial. So when you talk about respect, I was always taught, right, and it's an age-old cliche, but do unto others as you would like done unto you. Respect yourself before you demand anyone else to respect you. Those were things that were instilled within me from an early age. So when I talk about carrying that word respect or displaying that, and then being an example for those who may either latch on to me or look to me for guidance, it really starts there, right? I try to respect myself in every aspect, whether that's my physical fitness, whether it's, following the steps that have been laid for me in terms of carrying a family, being a male figure within a family. I was always taught that you need to stand out front, you need to lead by example. And one of those things that you do, right? It's have people respect you in any walk of life that you come into. And as a Black male within the US, in the current climate of the US today, and even in New Jersey, right? If we want to hone in a little bit closer. As you know, I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, but my family is rooted from out of Trenton, New Jersey. And knowing just full scale the culture right now, the social climate, political communities, where they are in terms of their everyday thinking, that respect of oneself is most important. And if you're going to ask for someone to respect you, what I would say is that make sure you carry yourself that way. Your dialogue and your interactions in any walk of life that you have, you need to make sure that you represent yourself in a way that, one, when you speak, be heard. But if you're going to be heard, make sure that you're saying something that's worthwhile. And that can go from anywhere on a sliding scale of age. If we're talking to youth, if you're talking to a peer, if you're talking to someone that's elder, however you represent yourself, if you're going to say something, be heard, but make sure you're saying something that's worthwhile, that has some credence behind it. Both of the questions that you've asked me thus far, they're intertwined, right? The core values that were instilled in me, that's my why. The respect level that you have to carry each and every day, not only in the business of commerce where I am today, but even in the walks, as I said, of any age demographic that you find yourself interacting in, make sure that you're saying something worthwhile, especially to the youth, because I find that a lot of our youth are misguided right now. There's so many different images and messages out there for them to latch on to, so to speak, that they may not know how it's going to affect them one way or another, right? And they look to people as myself for that guidance, for that clarity. And I try to be as transparent as possible with everyone that I interact with. Because, like I said earlier in the interview, it's we're none of us are perfect, but you
Right.
learn from your imperfections, you learn from experiences, and then pay it forward.
So, how are you encouraging the one who says, okay, Bydeia, I've done all of that. I continue to do that. I walk upstanding. I respect myself. I respect others. I command presence in the room. I speak with authority, all the things. Yet I am still not seen. What do you say to that person of color or persons of color who is enduring that essential narrative?
So there's a couple things that come to mind when you ask me that question. One of the things that I do personally, whenever I have a hurdle in front of me or there's something that I'm striving to gain and the path towards it may be a little tumultuous, I always self-reflect. And not just when things are, a struggle, but when things are going on well, I also self-reflect. I like to look back and say, you know, what were the steps that I've taken to get to this point? What are the goals that I have still out in front of me that are seeming a little tougher to go ahead and grasp? What can I change about my approach? Self reflection has always been something that's helped me move forward. And on the flip side of that, and you spoke to when you feel as though you're doing all this possible, all of the things that you feel as though should guide you on the right path to success, and you're not quite seeing it the way that you envision it. One of the things that I always drawn on, and this is kind of in respect of February and it being African American History Month. When we look back at our culture, just who we are as a people, one thing we've always done is persevere.
Yeah.
When the deck has been stacked against us, we've always existed, we've always pushed forward, and eventually, right, we've excelled. No matter what's going on in today's climate in terms of the contributions being made by our culture, trying to be set aside, wiped away, those things, they still remain evident. And it's up to people like myself, yourself, Dr. Bell, in terms of reminding people who we are as a people, what we've contributed to society, what we contribute daily to our communities, directing them towards resources, those opportunities and those goals that they have set out on a mission to accomplish. If you're in that place where you've already accomplished some of these things, or you have that knowledge to pass on to that person who's not quite on that path to success that they're striving for, that's where you have to reach back. In my position, right, I'm in a position that's, if we want to get detailed about it, access to capital for small businesses, minority businesses to be exact, and even further into that, a little deeper, Black businesses. I've been in the corporate environment. I left that environment to go on an entrepreneurial journey. And it was not easy. And I was told that I had to take a leap of faith, right? And I passed those same messages on. But also, what I do is draw from my experiences and pay that forward to whoever that counterpart might be now. And when you're taking in those messages, I had a great leader out in front of me and my uncle, who's CEO, founder of the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. I've seen him in many different lights. There was a transportation business that he started when I was still a youth, where he was freight forwarding with tractor trailers. And he moved on from that to run for mayor in the city of Trenton multiple times into the light where he is now. So I've seen the journey evolve along the way. But if you have set goals and you continue to strive for them, your path may get a little windy on the road, but eventually you'll get there. And that determination, that perseverance that our culture has always exuded, it's within you. It is within you. You find your
Mhm.
why, right? You find that goal that you want to plan to strive for. You can get there. You can get there.
Absolutely. And you speak to the, the collective resilience of us, right? Which is so important. Even in my own life, I resonate with that, as you know, with my own family, my mother and my nuclear family, my father, even in his own right, to learn to eat the chicken, if you will, and throw away the bones, to glean from what worked and what didn't work before us, and the example we need to set for this current generation in terms of how we are modeling what perseverance looks like, and why these key core values still remain relevant even today. So important. Attention, healthcare professionals. Are you looking to enhance your skills and stay ahead in your field? Look no further than our ACCME accredited CME courses. Whether you're a doctor, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner, our courses are tailored to meet your needs. Why focus on geriatric education, you ask? Because regardless of your specialty, geriatric care is becoming increasingly essential. As our population ages, the demand for competent healthcare professionals in geriatrics is higher than ever before. We don't stop there. Our courses also empower caregivers to partner with you in the care of your patients. We believe that by fostering a strong partnership between healthcare clinicians and caregivers, we can provide the best possible care for our elderly population. So join our impactful caregiving community today. Sign up for our ACCME accredited course instruction and take the first step towards advancing your career and making a difference in the lives of your patients. Important. How do you explain this to your young adult children?
So I'll take it to my 8-year-old, for instance. One of the things that I say to him often, and it's not a drill, so to speak, or something that we plan to do, just in conversation. He's always been around me in multiple facets. So he's always been in the gym as I coach basketball. He's been to the office and see me in a suit and tie and see me take conference calls and Zooms and interact with corporate counterparts. So one of the things that from an early on age, he's 8 now, but we've been having discussion maybe since 2 or 3. The word boss, right? I've always stressed to him that if you want to be a boss in this world, there's some things that come along with that. There's
Mm,
responsibility, there's respect, there's your education. And those are things that we still talk about from that age of 3, even up to now, at 8 years old. So we talk about those things not only to embed in him what's going to be needed as he continues to matriculate educationally and just socially. Those are things that are just, they're so vital within life. And even paying that forward to the 17-year-old. When we talk right now, 17 and being in 11th grade and being a junior, it's a lot of decisions to be made on how you're going to shape the next couple of years of your life.
right.
So we talk
That's a
about,
significant chapter. Yeah.
absolutely. So we talk about ownership, right? Owning just your space, owning the responsibilities that come along with what you say you would like to do in life, right? Taking those extra initiatives. I'll just use scholastically as an example. When we talk about math is one of the subjects that Ian struggles in. So what he'll do is he'll have support at home, but what I stress to him is home is one thing. We're always going to be your support. But are you taking advantage of those extra hours of service that the teacher is offering?
Mm,
Are you using study hall as a tool? Right? Are you taking it upon yourself to review notes from class consistently, not just here and there, but consistently? Because that word struggle, in order to overcome a struggle, you have to consistently have a want behind overcoming it. So that's something that I stress to him. So when I'm talking to the youth, it's a key word that we used already within the interview, and it's resilience.
mhm.
I feel as though as we matriculate through the generations, the resilience and the level of it changes. And it's because as parents, we strive not only to protect and elevate the lives of our offspring, but some of that tough outer shell that we had to endure that really made us who we are today, they're protected from because we've been afforded a little more through our own struggle. So one of the things when I'm talking to youth, I love to just remind them of what it is to be resilient. And you're going to have some tough times, but that's what's going to shape and mold you into the person that you ultimately want to be. And you'll be able to lean on those times and keep referencing back to them. No matter what comes your way as an obstacle. Hey, I've been through something similar before. This is just another cog in the wheel. I'm going to keep rolling.
Mhm,
And I talk
mhm.
to them often about that.
So, what's the common question that your peers are asking of you and the children are looking to you for those answers? What's that? Is there one question that seems to be the same?
Let me take a moment just to think about that. I don't know if it's one common question, but what I would say is a common theme is just the next step. And
Mm,
I'll explain a little bit about how I mean that. So I'll take my peers' view, just as entrepreneurs, small business owners, what I hear from them often. From one year to the next, in terms of running a business and scaling a business, you try to increase ever so slightly each and every year. And some years you may say, I want to sustain, but I want to have a larger margin, 5, 6, 7%. And then there may be some years where you see opportunity in front of you and you say, you know what, I want to hit a home run this year. I really want to challenge myself. I want to be motivated and I want to take a larger step to that next level. And then I'll kind of equate that to the youth, right? Naturally, as you go through your progression as a youth, there's always a next step. If we just take it scholastically, there's always that next grade. If there's elementary, then there's middle school, high school, and then on to college or maybe even a trade school. So when we talk about that next level or leveling up, it kind of comes full circle with this conversation we started with and where we are now. Do you have those goals and aspirations? Everybody has goals and aspirations, but everybody doesn't have a plan.
mhm.
So that plan is literally what gets you to the next step. Because you can also plan for struggles and hurdles that'll be in the way of you elevating or scaling. But if you fail to plan, and I know it gets old and it's a cliche, but if you fail to plan, you literally have set yourself up for failure from the beginning. So whether it's the youth, whether it's my peers, whether it's even those who are deemed elder to me, there's always a next step. There's a next step for them as well, whether it be succession, whether it be retirement, right? I would love to say I'm close to that, but it seems I'm a little way to go. You can plan for those next steps. So I think planning is universal. No matter
Mhm,
where you are on the spectrum, is universal. And I try to do that at every cost. Because sometimes for me, personally, if I don't plan, I carry a lot on my shoulders, right? And a lot of people tell me they're broad. I was given that responsibility at a young age. And then, as the saying goes, to whom much is given,
Much is required.
much is required.
That's facts. It is. It is. It
So
is. It
look
is.
at
It
it,
is.
I say, I was fit to carry much, and I feel
Mhm.
as though I'm equipped to. And the only way you can be equipped is if you plan.
Yeah. And
That's
if you go through, if you if you know that you've fallen on your face and you've risen, you know both sides. You
the
know,
resilience.
that thing is real. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So some final words of encouragement as we close out Caring While Black this month. You know, in our parts, Black excellence is every day for us, but a particular time where we highlight and look to one another and say, I see you, bro, I see what you're doing, I applaud you. So give us some last parting words.
I think the theme is fitting for this month. And in spite of recent events that have happened across our society and this nation, I think some fitting words would be one, I'll give is resiliency. And I know we've used that a lot within this interview, but it's so true. This is such a time right now where not only will you need to be resilient, but it's going to be required of you to be resilient. And when we talk about our culture and moving it forward, we have to coalesce. One of these sayings or very common terms that's used a lot in circles I travel is there's strength in numbers. And it definitely is strength in numbers. We can take this interview that you and I have been on for this half an hour journey, right? Us coalescing our thoughts, our perspectives, and then as it will be seen by others, right? We're broadcasting those thoughts. We don't know what the audience may latch on to, but as I was saying earlier, if you're going to say something, be heard and have some credence behind it. And I can stand on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your leadership. I thank you for being a model to follow for our young males, for your cohort as well, because we need our Black men to be strong, to lead our communities as well. So I appreciate that as well, and I thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bell. I definitely appreciate you as well.
Thank you.
Great information right from the source. For more information on how to caregive like a boss, check out impactfulcaregiving.com. Want to be a guest on the show? Contact us at CarePOD at impactfulcaregiving.com.